From the beginning of time until this very modern age, human beings have carried within them a common longing, the longing for happiness. Societies may change, civilizations may flourish, and modern conveniences may make life more comfortable, but the deepest question in every human heart remains the same: how can I live a truly happy life? We grow up believing that happiness lies in the things outside of us: a successful career, a perfect home, financial security, or the recognition of others. And indeed, these things can bring joy, but often only for a fleeting moment. When we achieve them, we feel delighted for a while, only to find ourselves empty again. When we lose them, we suffer and despair, as if the whole sky has fallen down. Many people spend their entire lives chasing happiness by trying to acquire more wealth, more power, more fame. Yet the more they accumulate, the more anxious they become. The more they have, the greater their fear of losing it. And so, in the midst of outward abundance, they discover an inner hunger, a kind of emptiness that no material possession can fill. The paradox is this: the more we search for happiness outside of ourselves, the more we lose the chance to realize the true happiness that already exists within. Buddhism, with its timeless wisdom of more than 2,500 years, points to a simple yet often forgotten truth: true happiness is not something to own, nor is it a reward for endless striving. It does not lie in the admiration of others, nor depend on the successes or failures of our lives. True happiness is a state of the mind, calm, free, and clear. This is the secret the Buddha discovered, lived, and offered to the world. A secret not hidden, but rarely recognized. Because human beings keep running outward in search, forgetting that the door to real happiness is already within. In his teachings, happiness is no longer something distant, but a practical path. One we can walk, experience, and taste in each breath and every step. Happiness is no longer bound to gain or loss, success or failure, but blossoms naturally when we learn to live mindfully, let go, and cultivate compassion. So what is true happiness? Why does Buddhism call it a secret? Not because it is difficult to find, but because we have not yet turned inward to see. And how can each of us, in the complexity of modern life, touch that happiness here and now? This is the journey that today's video invites you to step into, under the title, The Secret to True Happiness in Buddhism. Our channel, Buddha's Wisdom Journey, was created to walk with you like a companion, offering reflections, lessons, and deep insights from Buddhist wisdom. Not as lofty theories far away from daily life, but as a gentle light to guide your steps, reminding you that happiness has never left you. It has always been there, quietly waiting for you to return and see. So, allow your heart to open on this journey. Let every story, every teaching, and every silence within this video become an opportunity for you to touch that secret, the secret of true happiness, simple yet profoundly deep. The 3 keys to unlock true happiness. 1. Letting go of craving, the first step toward inner freedom. According to the Buddha, the root of all suffering lies in craving, the endless desire that never stops. We long for something that we believe will satisfy us, but once we have it, we fear losing it. When we don't have it, we suffer. When we do have it, we still suffer. This cycle becomes an invisible chain that binds us to worry, comparison, and restlessness. Take a moment to look at your own life. How many times have you told yourself, just a little more, and I'll finally be happy? Yet that little more never seems to end. Someone with $10 wants 100. Someone with 100 wants 1,000. Even those with great fame and fortune often feel empty inside. The Buddha never taught us to reject material life, but he pointed out a deeper truth: real happiness doesn't come from possessing, but from releasing attachment. A person who lives in a small home and eats a simple meal may already be wealthier than someone who owns a palace but feels restless within. Letting go does not mean giving up everything or running away from life. It means freeing the heart from dependence. When we stop comparing, stop chasing, and stop trying to prove ourselves to others, a great lightness naturally arises. In the light of the Dharma, happiness is found in simplicity. A falling leaf, a cool glass of water, or a quiet sunset can bring immense joy when the heart is open and free from craving. But if attachment still clouds the mind, even owning the whole world won't be enough. The first key to unlocking happiness is learning to let go, not to be bound by what we desire, but to find peace in what already is. 2. Cultivating compassion, the happiness of connection and giving. There's a paradox in life: the more we close ourselves off and focus only on our own needs, the lonelier we become. Yet when we open our hearts to care and share, we discover a deep, irreplaceable joy. In the Buddha's teachings, compassion is described as an inexhaustible source of healing, for ourselves and for others. Compassion means seeing another's suffering and wishing to ease it. It's not pity, it's deep understanding expressed through action. When we practice compassion, we step beyond the narrow boundaries of me and mine. We begin to feel connected to all beings. The joy of others becomes our joy, and their pain awakens our empathy. Think about it, the happiest moments in life are rarely when we receive something, but when we give. A smile shared, a helping hand offered at the right time, a few kind words spoken when someone is hurting, these bring a warmth no amount of money can buy. Compassion not only nourishes our humanity, it also frees us from fear, resentment, and isolation. When our hearts are full of kindness, we see life through new eyes, less judgment, more understanding, less comparison, more connection. The happiness born of compassion is quiet but profound. It grows stronger the more we give. Like a candle lighting another candle. The flame of compassion only spreads, it never diminishes. The second key to happiness is cultivating compassion, the vast love that helps us transcend the narrow self and live in genuine connection with all beings. 3. Mindfulness and the present moment, happiness in the here and now. We often believe that happiness lies somewhere in the future, when I achieve this goal, when I solve that problem, when things finally settle down, then I'll be happy. But the truth is, tomorrow is an illusion. Happiness doesn't exist in a future that hasn't arrived, nor in a past that's already gone, it exists only here, in this very moment. Yet most people go through life without truly being present. Their minds wander through memories or race ahead to worries. They eat but think about work. They walk but their thoughts drift to unfinished conversations. They sit beside loved ones but remain absorbed in their phones. And in this constant chase, they miss the happiness right before their eyes. The Buddha taught mindfulness, the ability to awaken to each moment. Mindfulness is not something lofty or mystical, it's the art of living fully with what is. When eating, know that you are eating. When breathing, know that you are breathing. When walking, know each step as it touches the earth. In this awareness, we begin to see the simple beauty of life, the fragrance of morning tea, sunlight through a window, birdsong at dawn. These aren't small details, they are the very fabric of happiness itself. Practicing mindfulness also softens our suffering. When faced with difficulty, instead of being swept away by worry, we can pause, take a deep breath, and acknowledge our emotions. In that very moment, the inner storm begins to calm. True happiness is not a distant mountain to climb, it is the ability to live awake in the present moment. Each mindful breath, each peaceful step, is a seed of happiness we can plant right now. When these three keys, letting go of craving, cultivating compassion, and living mindfully, come together, they open the full doorway to genuine happiness. This happiness is not a fragile joy that depends on conditions, but a deep inner peace that arises from within, a freedom that no one can ever take away. In today's fast-paced world, surrounded by dazzling advertisements and social media that constantly whisper, "You're not beautiful enough, not rich enough, not successful enough, letting go has become more challenging than ever. We are submerged in a culture of comparison, where self-worth is often measured by external standards. That's why learning to let go is no longer a distant monastic practice, it has become essential for protecting the peace of our hearts. When someone pauses in the midst of that chaos and gently says to themselves, "I don't need to chase everything to prove my worth," that very moment marks their first step toward genuine happiness. The power of letting go lies in freedom, the freedom from being driven by desires, from being torn between gain and loss, success and failure. You can smile at someone else's success without feeling inferior. You can live simply without feeling deprived. And, paradoxically, the moment you stop chasing happiness, it quietly finds you, like the cool shade that naturally embraces the one who rests beneath a tree. If letting go frees us from the chains of desire, compassion opens another door, the door of connection. None of us can exist in isolation. Whether we realize it or not, we are all part of the vast web of life. When we cultivate compassion, we begin to see this truth clearly: our joy is intertwined with the joy of others, and our pain is inseparable from the suffering of the world. Compassion doesn't always reveal itself through grand gestures, it lives in small, everyday moments, a gentle word instead of a harsh one, a moment of listening instead of quick judgment, a smile shared with a stranger. Each of these acts is a seed of compassion. When nurtured and watered daily, these seeds soften our hearts, making them warmer and more alive. Then we realize that happiness isn't something to be kept for ourselves, it's a flowing current that grows stronger the more it is shared. Think of the last time you helped someone when they needed it most, perhaps offering your seat on a bus, or comforting a friend who was hurting. That warmth you felt inside, it didn't come from money or recognition. It came from the pure vibration of your heart. It is proof that true happiness doesn't arise from how much we have, but from how much we love. However, for letting go and compassion to truly take root in our lives, we need one more essential key: mindfulness. Without mindfulness, we are easily swept away by worries, anger, and old habits. Mindfulness is the light that illuminates our consciousness, allowing us to see clearly what is happening inside and around us. Imagine your mind as a lake. When strong winds blow, the surface ripples, and it can no longer reflect the sky. But when the wind settles, the water becomes still, and the blue heavens appear clearly. In the same way, when our minds are disturbed, we can't see the truth or feel happiness. Only when we return to mindfulness, in our breathing, in our steps, in our daily actions, does the mind calm down and clarity arise. Practicing mindfulness doesn't require withdrawing from the world. You don't have to be in a meditation hall to awaken. Even while washing dishes, you can do it mindfully, feeling the touch of water on your hands, being fully aware of each plate you hold. When drinking a cup of tea, you can truly drink your tea, not drift into unfinished conversations or tomorrow's to-do list. In that state of awareness, we realize that true happiness is not a distant goal but a living journey. Every moment of mindfulness is already a moment of happiness. When you breathe in and know that you are breathing in, when you breathe out and know that you are breathing out, you are fully alive, right here, right now. The beauty of these three keys, letting go, compassion, and mindfulness, is that they are not separate but deeply interwoven. Letting go makes the heart light. Compassion makes it open. Mindfulness makes it clear. Together, they form a complete path toward real happiness. In other words, happiness in Buddhism is neither mystical nor distant. It is a very simple truth: letting go of what causes suffering, nurturing what brings love, and being fully present for life as it is. This is the true secret of happiness that the Buddha shared more than 2,500 years ago, a secret never hidden, yet often overlooked. It doesn't lie in distant heavens or ancient scriptures, but in each breath, each step, each choice we make. And only when we stop, listen, and practice, does that secret truly unfold, leading us to a deep and unshakable peace. When we begin the journey of letting go, cultivating compassion, and living mindfully, we realize that true happiness no longer depends on external conditions. Instead of waiting for a grand achievement, a perfect relationship, or some special moment to feel happy, we begin to sense happiness in the simplest moments of everyday life. When we wake up in the morning and realize we can still breathe, see the sky, and walk on our own 2 feet, that itself is a priceless gift. There are countless people lying in hospital beds who would give anything just to take a single easy breath or a pain-free step. Yet we, caught up in the rush of modern life, often forget these miracles. Mindfulness reminds us, life itself is here. And being alive is happiness. When we learn to let go of attachment and craving, we begin to appreciate what's already present. A simple meal becomes delicious when eaten with gratitude. Sitting quietly under a tree, listening to the rustling of leaves, can be a moment of pure peace. We no longer need to wait for something extraordinary, happiness is always available, waiting for us to open our hearts and receive it. And when compassion blooms in the heart, happiness is no longer confined to a narrow sense of me and mine. We rejoice in the joy of others and feel peace in easing someone's pain. A compassionate heart is free from the walls of selfishness, it shines naturally. Such a person not only lives in happiness but becomes a source of happiness for the world around them. Imagine a society where everyone knows how to let go of greed, lives with compassion, and walks with mindfulness. There would be less jealousy, conflict, and competition, and more kindness, sharing, and understanding. Personal happiness and collective happiness are deeply connected. When one person becomes peaceful, that peace ripples outward into the world. Of course, this path is not always easy. Letting go can feel like loss because we've been conditioned to cling and to desire. Compassion can feel like weakness in a world that glorifies competition more than kindness. And mindfulness requires effort in a restless, distracted mind. Yet these very challenges are our teachers. Each time we release a small attachment, we taste a little more freedom. Each time we open our hearts to another, we expand our capacity for love. Each time we pause, breathe, and return to the present, we take another steady step on the path of awakening. These may seem like small acts, but together they build a profound transformation. The Buddha once said, "Drop by drop, the water pot is filled." Happiness is like that, a gradual cultivation. If we keep practicing a little each day, letting go of one craving, nurturing one moment of compassion, living one mindful breath, eventually, our hearts become spacious, free, and deeply at peace. In Buddhism, happiness is not a fixed destination but a living process. It's not something we chase in the future but something we live now, in this very moment. The truly happy person doesn't wait for life to be perfect, they touch joy in the simple act of being alive, breathing, and loving. Letting go brings freedom. Compassion opens the heart. Mindfulness brings clarity. Together, they form the foundation of true happiness, a happiness that is calm, boundless, and awake. True happiness is not something abstract or distant, it has very real signs that can be seen in daily life. When we walk gently without rushing, that is happiness. When we eat a meal mindfully, grateful for every grain of rice, that is happiness. When we pause instead of reacting in anger and choose to listen with understanding, happiness is already present in that very moment. Often, happiness comes in small, seemingly ordinary moments, yet those moments are the most enduring foundations that nourish our lives. A warm hug from a loved one, the quiet beauty of sunrise, a spontaneous laugh, these are the building blocks of inner peace. The question is, are we mindful enough to recognize and cherish them? A person who knows how to let go no longer feels burdened by gain and loss. One with compassion no longer feels lonely amid the world's suffering, for they know they can ease it. And one who lives mindfully no longer feels lost in life's chaos, because they have a light shining from within. What's remarkable is that when we begin to live by these three keys, letting go, compassion, and mindfulness, the people around us can sense the transformation. We don't need to preach or speak much about happiness or spiritual teachings. Our presence itself becomes the teaching. The calm person who does not compete, who does not hold anger or anxiety, their very being is a living example of happiness. Looking deeper, true happiness is not just a personal state. It radiates outward. When we live peacefully, we become an inspiration for others. Our inner joy can awaken joy in our family, friends, and colleagues. In this way, happiness becomes a shared current, flowing through the collective, not a private possession. However, the happiness the Buddha taught is not something to cling to as a permanent treasure. Happiness is like a flowing river, it arises when the right conditions are present and fades when they are gone. If we try to hold on to happiness, we fall back into attachment. The key is to live fully with happiness in the present moment. Without clinging, without demand, simply enjoying it as one enjoys a flower in full bloom. In the light of the Dharma, happiness is not something to possess, but a state of mind. A mind that can let go is light, a heart that knows compassion is vast, a consciousness that is mindful is clear. Together, these three form the essence of happiness. When we understand this, we stop searching for happiness outside and begin nurturing it within, by cultivating letting go, compassion, and mindfulness each day. Many people ask, how can I stay happy when life is difficult? The answer lies in practice. Just as no one becomes a musician after playing a few notes, we cannot end suffering after hearing one Dharma talk. Practice is the key. Each day, we let go a little, love a little, and awaken a little. These small efforts, repeated over time, bring about great transformation. At first, we may not see results. But just as a seed, when watered daily, eventually sprouts, blooms, and bears fruit, happiness grows from steady practice, from mindful actions, and from awareness in every moment. The beauty of this path is that it requires no special status or background. The Buddha taught that happiness is a secret anyone can discover, if they turn inward. Whether rich or poor, educated or simple, anyone can practice letting go, compassion, and mindfulness. That universality is what makes the Buddha's teaching timeless and ever relevant, even after more than 2,000 years. And so, the search for happiness is no longer a race towards something outside, but a gentle return inward. There's no need to go far or change every circumstance, just a shift in how we see and how we live is enough for happiness to appear. One day, a man asked the Buddha, "Can you give me a short teaching on happiness?" The Buddha smiled and said, "Do not cling, love deeply, and live mindfully." These three simple instructions, if practiced, can open the door to lasting happiness for anyone. The secret of happiness in Buddhism does not lie in having more, but in needing less, less greed, less anger, less ignorance. When we lighten that burden, we don't lose anything, we actually become free. A cup filled with muddy water can never be drinkable simply by adding more clean water. Only by patiently pouring out the dirt can it become clear. Our lives are the same. Happiness doesn't come from adding more conditions, but from emptying the mind of its burdens. True happiness is like a delicate flower, it blooms only under the sunlight of mindfulness and the gentle water of gratitude. It cannot grow in the dry soil of greed or in the darkness of hatred. Every day is a chance to tend the garden of your heart. A gentle look instead of suspicion, a word of forgiveness instead of resentment, a mindful breath instead of being lost in thought. These small acts are the nourishment that allows the flower of happiness to blossom again and again. In the light of the Buddha's teachings, happiness is not a destination, it is the path itself. We don't need to wait until everything is perfect to be happy. Instead, we learn to smile amid imperfection, because that is where true peace lives. The Buddha once said, "There is no path to happiness. Happiness is the path." Once we realize this, we stop chasing shadows and finally come home to the present moment, where happiness quietly blooms. Perhaps each of us has spent years searching for happiness outside ourselves, in success, love, wealth, or others' approval. Yet the more we chase, the farther we drift from our own hearts. Only when we pause, tired and weary, and return to the breath, do we see the truth: happiness was never lost, it was merely covered by layers of greed, anger, and ignorance. As we wipe away those layers, we rediscover our innate ability to smile. Practicing the Buddha's teachings doesn't turn us into someone else, it brings us back to who we truly are: light, compassionate, and radiant. Happiness is no longer something granted from outside but becomes a stream flowing from within, endless and pure. Those who find this happiness feel full even in simplicity. They can face pain without despair, because they understand, suffering, too, is the soil in which the seed of happiness grows. This is the simple secret the Buddha left for us: happiness is not something to seek, but something to see. And when you finally see it, life changes. The sky seems bluer, the wind softer, and even the rain becomes a song that nourishes the soul. You no longer live as a seeker, but as one who savors life. You no longer chase the joy of having more, but rest peacefully in the joy of needing less. This secret has never been far away. It's right here, in this breath, in this step, in this heartbeat. All it takes is to pause, smile, and open your heart, and happiness, once thought mysterious, will reveal itself as clearly as dawn dispelling the night. This is also the mission of Buddha's wisdom journey, not only to share deep Buddhist teachings, but to walk with you in practice, so that every video becomes a mindful step on your path of awakening. If these reflections have touched your heart, please subscribe to the channel so you won't miss future teachings. And I'd love to hear from you. What does true happiness mean to you? Have you ever experienced a moment when you realized happiness wasn't somewhere else, but right within you? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Your story might become a source of inspiration for others on their own journey toward peace. Because, in the end, happiness is not something to keep for yourself, it's something to be shared. When one person lives in peace, the whole world benefits.